Hello everybody, Deb Joyce Meek here from Delight of My Art. Today I wanted to show you a tutorial, my very first tutorial, on some Christmas cards that I'm putting together with this jar of cheer set I just picked up. So I just wanted to play with this and I'm super excited to be using this set. So I'm going to be showing you how I put together this cute card. Watch this. So cute! So stay tuned! Okay, so this is the card we're going to be making, and it is just a regular A2 size card, 5.5 by 4 1/4, and I'll have the measurements for all of these pieces today. So I'm going to be making a little bit different pattern because I actually wanted to use a bunch of the Candy Cane Lane Designer Series paper. So I've got a bunch of different patterns, and this is the pattern we're going to be putting together today. So it'll look something like this, and you could really do any of these patterns together almost. They all coordinate really well. The only thing is if you're cutting the paper that has a certain direction, like this is the top and this is the bottom, make sure that you do the top or the shorter sides along the top and the bottom of your paper. So let's go over the pieces here. A regular white cardstock card, 5.5 by 4 1/4. Just say in half a piece of paper, cut in half, and then fold it again. And your plain piece of colored cardstock right here is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I'll put all of these measurements down in the description bar below too. And your Designer Series paper patterned piece is 5 inches by 3 3/4. And then you have another solid piece here, 4 1/4 by 3 inches. And then in a quarter again from that is 4 inches by 2 3/4. And then this little piece here is 2 3/4, same width as the white piece, by 3/4 of an inch. And I might actually trim this a little bit shorter. We'll see how it goes depending on where I get my jar stamped on this piece. So let's get started. First, actually, I'm going to stamp the back of my card because I like to have a little stamp on the back, you know, a homemade stamp, because I think that just makes a card look really professional. So I'm going to stamp this Can't Beat Snail Mail right on the back there. So I'm going to get out my crummy block that I'm going to be replacing soon as I sign up. I'm getting some blocks. I hate dipping my fingers in the ink with this one, but it's what I got for now. So use what I got. So I'm going to be using this Better Than Email stamp set, which is in the main catalog right now. And I'm going to be using this Can't Beat Snail Mail. All of these are really cute. I really like this sharing creativity and inspiration one card at a time. Inspired to create and share with you. I love these heart ones. From my heart to yours. Really cute stuff. But I'm going to use this one because I'm actually going to be mailing these as my Christmas card this year. So I'll use the snail mail one. You can see I've used a bunch of these already. A lot of them are dyed a little bit pink from the red ink. So I'll put that on my block here. Get out my Real Red ink pad. And just gently tap that into the ink. I'm going to put it up far enough so if I do make a mistake, I can just use this as the front of my card and just turn it all around and cover this up with my paper. But it looks fantastic, so we're just going to leave it like that. I'm going to put the red away for right now so we can adhere the front pieces of card, or the cardstock, to the front of the card. And we'll leave these aside because we'll be using those shortly. I'm going to clean my stamp real quick here. Put my block aside. Now I'm going to put my stamp away real quick because I like to put them back in the containers so I don't lose any pieces. Okay, so I'm going to get out my snail adhesive. I'm going to be taking my bottom piece of Crumb Cake paper. I'm just going to put adhesive on each side. I know some people can go a little crazy with the adhesives, but I was figuring out that that's one of the most expensive things in making your cards is the adhesive. So if you just, and it holds just fine if you just do two sides. So that's, I would recommend doing that. Make your adhesives stretch a little further. And then we're gonna put the designer series paper on there. These are all double-sided pieces and they're really cute. So you could go either way, but I'm gonna go with this one. It's a little bit more contrast with the background that I've chosen for this piece. I used a combination of the Crumb Cake, the Real Red, and the Early Espresso to coordinate with the designer series paper here. So they all go well together. As soon as you line up these three corners, you know this one's going to line up. As long as you've cut straight. And I'm going to put this red piece on next. And then we can put our card aside. Whoa, gooey. Three corners, good to go. Okay, I'm gonna put this aside for now. And we're gonna get out this piece. I also have a scrap of 3.5 inches by 12 inches, and this will be the top flap part. I'm gonna be making a lot of these cards, so I actually had a 12 by 12 inch piece of paper which I cut at 8.5 inches, which works out perfectly because then I can use that bigger piece to create an 8.5 by 11 piece and make two cards out of it by just cutting off 1 inch off the other side. So this is 3.5 inches by 12 inches, and I'm going to be stamping a whole bunch of jars on here for the flap for a bunch of other cards, but we'll just do one today. So this piece will be the underneath part. This piece right here is this, and then this part will be the flap, and we'll be cutting this one out with scissors. So I'm going to get my jar stamp out and put it on my block. So we're getting out our jar of cheer stamp set. We're getting out this piece right here. And I think my battery's about to die, so I'm going to go recharge that and continue this video in just a second. Okay, sorry my battery died. I had to get it charged again. We've got the jar stamp on my block, and I'm going to get out my Early Espresso ink pad. I'm going to stamp it on the cardstock that goes on the base and then the one on the top. I'm going to stamp it pretty close to the bottom of this card, and then it doesn't really matter where on this one, just somewhere near the bottom on that too. Just not in the middle on either one. My ink pad is a little bit dry, it needs to be re-inked. So I'm going to give it a good couple taps here. And I just dipped my finger in the ink because my block is just too small. I'm going to run my finger along that stamp on the edges. Give the ink time to soak into the paper and then lift it off. Looks great. Now for the jar on the top. I'm going to be cutting this one out. Perfect. Put this stamp back in my case real quick. And now we're going to be getting out the rim. The jar underneath gets the threads. So this stamp right here, and the one on the top will get this one. So since this one's going on the top, we'll put this one on that one, and then this one on our card right here. So I'm going to start with the threads. Kids are getting rambunctious over there. Okay, we've got the rim. That looks nice. Oh, this jar is so cute. I just love this set. All of these sets, this jar of cheer and the other jar set. Oh, I don't want to do it on that one. What am I doing? I almost made a mistake. So I'm going to get the other lid. Here's the jar lid. And we'll put that right on here. Let that soak in for a minute. Not quite a minute. A couple seconds. Looks good to me. Give this an old wipe. I can't wait to get my Stampin' Scrub pad so I can just quick wash these stamps a little bit faster than with this wipe is kind of leaving some weird stuff on my stamps. So it does in a pinch. You do what you gotta do till you get the things you want, right? So we've got these two. Now I'm gonna put the candy inside this jar and we're gonna stamp our sentiment on here. So let's do this one first. That'll be a little bit faster. And I'm going to get my red ink pad, real red. And we're going to put this Espresso away for now. And we're going to get out the Wishing You a Season of Cheer. And then we're going to get this one out. Okay, so this one's looks a little like that, and we're gonna stamp it right in this real red. I recommend on your ink pads when you put the labels on the edge right here, there's a couple different languages that come taped to the bottom. You choose the language that you want, but there's 3 left over. Pick the one that has the shortest word and cut off the edges, and then put it on the inside of your pad. That way if you have 2 stamp pads open at the same time, they're so dark you can almost not tell them apart, but if you have this color in here, you're going to be able to tell those apart a lot better. Just a tip. So I'm going to close this early espresso again. I'm going to stamp this Season of Cheer stamp. This is a nice font. I really like this one. And this little squiggly do can fit right in this little empty spot. Not quite that far down, but make sure your O and your G are evenly set in your jar. And press it down. Just going to give a little push down. There we go. We'll set that aside to dry for a minute and then we'll cut it out after we do the candy in here. Okay, so I'm going to get out my candy now. Put this one away first. Making sure not to lose any stamps. Okay. My block's a little big for this tiny little thing, but again, you do what you gotta do. Okay, so I'm going to just dab it a little bit. This new Real Red, since it's so new and juicy, I just need a tiny little dab, and then I'm gonna start down here in this bigger space right here and kind of fill that in with candy. There we go. And we're gonna keep going. There's one little shiny spot over here on this side. I'm going to keep turning my stamp so that that shiny spot ends up in a different spot in all the other pieces of candy. And see how the shadow is now over here, or the gleam spot. I'm just going to keep on turning this. I just think that looks nicer. You don't have to do that. I just like to. And I'm going to put the candy so that it's touching hopefully touching. Sometimes it doesn't quite get there, but hopefully touching the candy so it looks like they're all resting on each other. Resting on the candy, resting on the edge of the jar, but not too close. You see it looks like it's just falling on there. I didn't quite get it to the edge of the jar, but that's okay. I'm going to wipe off my edges because I keep dipping the edge in here because this block is too wide really for this small stamp. I'm going to turn my stamp again. And just keep turning it. So we'll just keep going till we fill up our jar. Trying to place them where it looks like they're just resting on each other. How they would fall if you put one more in the jar. And that about fills it up. Oops, see that one's kind of floating there. That's okay. Not a big deal. Okay, so let's close that ink pad, get that out of the way for right now. So we're going to put this aside to dry for right now and take this with our scissors and just kind of fussy cut this out. And I'm going to cut straight up along the sides on here. So I'm going to start on this side. Making sure I'm still in the camera here. Okay, so we're going to take this and put it in our paper trimmer and just score right above the lid. So I'll get my paper trimmer in here. Make sure to get my blade out of the way so I don't accidentally cut it. Okay. We'll hold it in place, putting our finger right here and just kind of score that across. Now it's scored right above the lid there, so we can just fold that. I'm going to fold it both ways so it's a little bendy there. I'll get this back out of the way. And here's our base card. What we're going to do is take this and glue it right on the top with some SNAIL adhesive. I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper here and just go right on the back of the tab, just on the tab. If I had fast fuse, I'd probably be using that instead of the SNAIL adhesive, but this seems to work okay. I think the fast fuse is supposed to hold a little bit better, especially with elements that kind of move around that people will be grabbing. But we do what we can. So hopefully that stuff underneath is dry. Looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to line up the jar. And place that down right there. Then we're going to get our little piece of paper that is 2 3/4 by 3/4 and put that right in the center here like this. And we can just put that down right away too. So I'm going to get my scrap paper over here. I'm going to put my SNAIL adhesive right on the back. just like that. So there's a little bit of a line right at the top there. And now we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back. Again, I wish I had fast fuse because I'd probably hold it a little bit better, but that's okay. We're going to tack the ribbon onto the back and then wrap it around a couple of times. So I'm going to get my fast fuse, maybe a little bit on the ends here, if it will start to go. And then through the center here. And I'm going to get out my Candy Cane Lane Baker's Twine. I'm going to use this real red right here. I could use this one, the white with the shimmery red, but I feel like there's enough going on in this card. I'm just going to use the plain red. So I think that will look nice. Okay, so I'm going to take the end here. I'm just going to stick it right on the back, right on this sticky stuff, and turn it over. See, this would stick a little bit better if it were the fast fuse, I think. I'm going to go straight down the center. Oh, I got some goopy glue on this side. How did that happen? It was upside down. Okay, so, and then we're going to go up here and kind of go diagonal, and then one more on this side. Do like a nice cross like that. Then we're going to tack this down again and then just trim it. So that looks cute. Now we're going to make a bow. But first we're just going to glue this onto the card. So we'll take our SNAIL adhesive, again go up the sides, and we're going to put a little bit more on this ribbon here. Okay, my hair is in the way here. What's going on? Okay. There we go. Get that nicely tacked down here. Put this on the card, line up our 3 corners. Press that down real good. We're almost done. It's so cute. Okay, now we're going to take our ribbon, or I'm sorry, our twine, and tie a bow. I just tied a funny bow like I was taught in high school by a Chinese foreign exchange student. She had a funny way of tying her shoes, and I thought it looked so cool that I swore I would tie my shoes that way so that I wouldn't forget how to do it. So I've always tied my shoes like this since high school. Okay, so here's a bow. I'm just going to trim the ends so that they're even. Yeah, they're not quite even. There we go. Move all that away. And now I'm just going to get one of my glue dots here. So I've got mini glue dots. These hold on some bigger elements that need a little bit better stickiness. You can't just put, this wouldn't hold that very well. So I'm going to take one off because I'm going to stick the bow on with my fingers and then take that off with my scissors here and just stick it right on the card. Right in the center of that string. Hello, darling. I love you too. And there's our card. So I just wanted to show you how easy that was. This is the card I'm going to be sending out this season. Merry Christmas, friends and family. And I did want to.
That's so cute!
Thank you. And I just wanted to show you the other versions of it with the other designer series paper pieces from the Candy Cane Lane designer series paper. So this is the one I showed you at the beginning. You can pretty much do almost any combination. I think the only pattern I didn't use was the cute little gingerbread houses because the pattern was just really big. So here's a bunch of different designs. You could match the paper or you could just do something coordinating. I think these two matched the stripe and the background. So you could do a whole bunch of stuff, but there's the card. Let me know what you think. My very first tutorial. How did I do? Let me know in the comments below and we'll keep her coming. Thanks. Have a great day, guys. Bye.